What if the step-by-step and case-by-case details of the torture of detainees had been discussed at the highest levels of government, inside the White House? It might prove to be the core to unraveling an entire administration's policy on torture. It might even one day find its way into a trial of war criminals. In our third story in the countdown, such meetings were regular occurrences in the Bush White House. The group called itself the National Security Principles Committee. It held dozens of top-secret decisions in the White House. This according to an ABC News investigation sourced with unnamed high-ranking officials. The principals included Vice President Dick Cheney, then National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, then Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld, then Secretary of State Colin Powell, also the CIA director at the time, George Tenet, and then Attorney General John Ashcroft, who, according to a top official, said, quote, "Why are we talking about this in the White House? History will not judge this kindly." The principals signed off on exactly how the CIA would interrogate supposed top al-Qaeda suspects and approved of combined techniques, including but not limited to waterboarding, a choreography, if you will. Such meetings began in the spring of 2002, according to the ABC report, after the CIA had captured a top al-Qaeda operative, Abu Zubaydah, whom the CIA has since confirmed was one of the 3 al-Qaeda suspects who were indeed waterboarding. All the principals present approved at each discussion, reportedly, yet the CIA wanted the principals to sign off on each case each time, when then-Director George Tenet sometimes made elaborate presentations, and that was even after a so-called Golden Shield was issued. That was in an August 2002 memo from the Justice Department giving formal legal authority to government interrogators to use enhanced interrogation techniques. Let's turn now to George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley. John, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
If true, if this is accurate or nearly accurate, what is the fullest interpretation, as you see it, of what went on in those meetings?
Well, this is one meaning of principle. They're not talking about the LE kind. And what you have are a bunch of people talking about was something that is a crime. For those of us who look at the criminal code and see torture for what it is, this is like, a meeting of the Bada Bing Club. I mean, these people are sitting around regularly talking about something defined as a crime. And then you even have John Ashcroft standing up and saying, maybe we shouldn't be talking about this at the White House. Well, obviously that's quite disturbing. It shows that this was a program, not just some incident, not just someone going too far. It was a torture program implemented by the United States of America and approved at the very highest level. And it goes right to the president's desk. And it's notable that this group wanted to get lawyers to sign off on this, and they found those lawyers, and people like Jay Bybee and John Yoo, and those people were handsomely rewarded. In Bybee's case, he became a federal judge after signing off on a rather grotesque memo that said that they could do everything short of causing organ failure or death.
The point that you made up mentioned there that Attorney General Ashcroft said, why do this in the White House? Why do it at such a high level? Between the location and the resumes, you said it goes to President Bush's desk here. Is it the smoking gun that President Bush authorized torture by the United States of America?
We really don't have much of a question about the president's role here. He's never denied that he was fully informed of these measures. In fact, early on in his presidency, he seemed to brag that they were using harsh and tough methods. And I don't think there's any doubt that he was aware of this. The doubt is simply whether anybody cares enough to do anything about it.
The meetings obviously were not conducted to serve the purposes of historians or those of us who analyze this situation. It looks like it was 100% CYA. The question I have here is, am I reading this right? Did the lower level interrogators, did the lower level people, even in that food chain of principals, people like the director of the CIA who would come out ranked a lot lower than, say, the Vice President of the United States in any kind of seating of cabinet positions, were they there to protect themselves at the cost of the most powerful people in the nation? In other words, did they play these people? Did they Who is being protected here?
Well, you know, as a criminal defense attorney, we call meetings like this meetings of the designated defendants because they are people who are signing off and will have to bear witness and bear responsibility. And here you have the CIA, which is basically saying we're not going to have a repeat of the 1970s, where you guys have us go exploding, you know, cigars and trying to take out leaders, and then you say you didn't know about it. And so the CIA has learned a lot. And so these meetings certainly cover them in that respect, and they establish a rather clear record that this was a program that was done with intention, knowingly done, and repeatedly a subject for meetings at the White House itself.
If there's a paper trail regarding this, John, is this a war crimes trial waiting to happen somewhere someday?
Well, it's always been a war crimes trial ready to happen, but Congress is like a convention of Claude Rains actors. Everyone is saying we're shocked. There's torture happening or being discussed in the White House, but no one is doing anything about it. And so what we have is the need for someone to get off the theater and move to the actual in going and trying to investigate these crimes.
Yeah, and all the attorneys talking about the movie characters, they're all Burt Lancaster, the Ernst Yanning character in Judgment at Nuremberg, all the people who authorized this. Jonathan Turley of George Washington University. I'll save you a seat down front if we ever have this trial.
Thank you,
John.
Keith.
Thank you.